Welcome to the 6th unit of the Aromatherapy for Home Use course. Today we're going to talk about eucalyptus oil. We're also going to have a look about how you store the oils at home and how to get the best out of them, as well as to keep them safely. We'll be looking at the method of use of gargle today, and also the properties and uses of eucalyptus. So now you've purchased a few essential oils, you need to keep them safely in your home. The oils are killed off by sunlight. That is the reason why they're sold in dark coloured bottles. The best of all the bottles are going to be the brown ones. They keep out the sunlight the most. You can get some very pretty sort of purple and blue ones, but they're not as protective and they don't shield the sun from the essential oils as much as they should do. The oils should also be kept in a dark place, but they are very corrosive and they'll eat through plastic like acid. If you ever spill an essential oil on a surface or on the top of a shelf or container, just make sure you wipe it off straight away because it will eat through over a period of time. So the best place to keep them is going to be either in a wooden box or on a wooden shelf, or even maybe invest in a glass tray to stand them on. They're also known to be very volatile. Now, volatile means that they evaporate quickly. So when you're using your essential oils, do make sure that you replace the lids properly. A little tip for you as well is to make sure that when you're pouring the essential oils out of the bottle, always have your label facing the ceiling so that if a little drip of the oil runs down after you stand it up again, it's not going to deface the label and you don't know what it is. So if you have the labels facing the ceiling, then any little extra drips are not going to ruin the label, so you don't know what's in it. So we need a dark place, we need a dark brown bottle if possible, and we need to place them on a wooden or glass surface. So the storage of essential oils, we also need to be mindful of young children in your household. Unfortunately, the only deaths recorded of by essential oil has been with children in America in particular, and with eucalyptus oil, unfortunately. So do make sure that your essential oils are well out of the way of children so that they can't get hold of them. You also need to just be aware that animals are a lot more sensitive to the aroma of the oils than we are. So just be mindful when you do burn oils and use oils in the vicinity of an animal that you don't overdo the amount of drops that you use. The oils will keep for several years, and I've had oils for quite a few years now. The citrus oils can go cloudy over a period of time, and this is when the oxidization is coming in. So the oxygen comes in and makes it cloudy and adulterates the oil. So again, making sure that you screw the tops on the bottles is essential for keeping them for a long period of time. Oils are very much like wine. The environment in which they grow is like wine. The best grapes come from certain environmental factors, like where they're grown and what weather they've been grown under, and they do improve with age, like wine. So apparently there's a big market for vintage frankincense oil. Once the oil is blended in a carrier, then the shelf life of that oil is going to be no longer than 3 months. And you will notice this by the oxidization and the lack of aroma of the smell. So it's best to keep them as an essential oil and mix them up fresh when you want them. Eucalyptus is native to Australia, but these days it's grown worldwide. It's an evergreen tree and the oil comes from the leaves mainly. It's got a very medicinal aroma and is regularly used in chest rubs, cough sweets. It's very cooling in the summer and protective in the winter. And there are a wide variety of eucalyptus plants. It's used a lot in pharmaceutical products like Vicks Vapor Rub, Albus oil, throat lozenges. But we use it, it's a very effective oil for lots of other conditions as well. So we've said that there's a lot of varieties of eucalyptus, and we use 4 different varieties in aromatherapy. Eucalyptus citriodora, and as the name suggests, it's a refreshing lemony scent, very similar to a sort of citronella, and citronellol is one of the main chemical constituents of Eucalyptus citriodora. So that one is the best insect repellent of the 4. Eucalyptus dives is a minty, pepperminty scented eucalyptus. And this one is a lot better for clearing the head, maybe sinuses, headaches. But they don't, either of them have as many uses as Eucalyptus globulus. This is the most common and the most effective. It has more properties and some really good chemical constituents, which makes it a good all-rounder. Eucalyptus smithi. This is a very mild type of eucalyptus, so it's excellent and safe to use in children and the elderly where they're convalescing or they're very frail. But Eucalyptus globulus is the most common, and that's the one we tend to use the most. As I said, Eucalyptus globulus is the most common and widely used eucalyptus. It has more properties than any of the other eucalyptus oils and is widely used not just for chest and throat problems, but also for aches and pains. It's very antispasmodic. It's very good for throat problems, laryngitis, all the respiratory problems as well. So that's Eucalyptus globulus. The benefits of eucalyptus are widely used and appreciated all the time with aromatherapists. It's wonderful for silencing a cough, soothing the throat if there's a tickle, clears the chest. It's very good insect repellent, so it keeps insects away. It's highly antiseptic and very good for disinfecting wounds. It's very good for helping you breathe more easily. It also helps to ease joint pain. It's analgesic, so it's very good for arthritis and rheumatism, aches and pains. It helps to freshen breath if you're suffering from halitosis. Clears the mind as well, helps you see things more clearly, and strengthens the immune system. But as you can see, there's nothing gynecological about eucalyptus. It's not quite so good for stress, anxiety, and tension, which we've used a lot of the other oils for. Its main uses are going to be as an antiseptic and as an insect repellent. Very good for any respiratory problem whatsoever, laryngitis, sore throats, lots of mouth issues with gum disease, toothache, and helps to clear the mind as well as strengthening the immune system. So the muscular system, the respiratory system, the immune system, but not so much the nervous system or the So introducing you to the therapeutic properties of eucalyptus, a new word for you is prophylactic. Prophylactic means that it prevents disease, and because eucalyptus is so good for stimulating the immune system, you can use it as a preventative. So when everyone else around you is suffering from coughs and colds, you can prevent yourself from catching these diseases by using it as a preventative. It's very antispasmodic, which means that it's going to be good for rheumatism, arthritis, aches and pains. It's expectorant, so that means it helps cough up phlegm and cut through phlegm in the chest, catarrh. So it's good for coughs, colds, flus, sinus. I would also add laryngitis to that. I've known people to gargle with eucalyptus and be able to speak when they've lost their voice within 30 minutes. It's a good stimulant, so it's very head clearing as well as stimulating the immunity. And it's antiseptic, so widely used for scalds, burns, spots, anything that needs to be cleaned and sort of disinfected. There's safety data attached to eucalyptus. You need to be mindful that if you're taking homeopathic remedies, eucalyptus is very strong in its aroma and it does interfere with the action of homeopathic remedies. It's also known as a skin irritant, so sometimes a person's skin may become very sensitive to a particular oil, usually the stimulating ones like eucalyptus, and it can cause an irritation. Normally the irritation's not that severe, it'll disappear within an hour, but if you find that it's really not going, then you can wipe down the area with a cold flannel. Consider how much you've used to avoid this happening again. So maybe you overdid the amount of drops you used in the way you used it, or maybe it's one for you to just avoid and find something else instead. So ideas for using eucalyptus. As I said earlier, it is a wonderful gargle. Very good for laryngitis, very good for sore throats, mouth ulcers, gum disease, all sorts of different problems with the throat and the mouth. So we're going to talk about gargle as a method of use in this next presentation. So just 1 drop of eucalyptus in 100 ml of warm water is going to be a really good gargle. You can use it as an inhalation. We've discussed inhalations before, and eucalyptus, peppermint and rosemary is a really good blend to inhale to relieve the sinuses. An insect repellent rub, quite often you would mix different drops of oil and put them into a 30 ml base oil. So for instance, here we've got an insect repellent rub, which is 10 drops of lavender, 10 of eucalyptus, 10 of tea tree, and they've been diluted in 30 ml of base oil. That could be a lotion base, and you could mix it up before you go on holiday, for instance, and apply it to your suntan lotion or sun cream before you go out every day to help as an insect repellent. You can also use the oils in the bath. It would make a very good bath for muscle aches and pains or arthritis and rheumatism. So you could use 2 drops of eucalyptus, rosemary and lavender as a really good bath. Eucalyptus blends well with the herb oils, and I also like it with the citrus oils as well. But mixed with benzoin for an inhalation or for somebody who's got a respiratory problem. I love benzoin. It's a very vanilla oil and very, very nice blend, I think, with eucalyptus and rosemary. Lavender blends with almost any oil, and I can imagine the earthy aroma of cedarwood would be nice with eucalyptus. So thyme is another herb, and marjoram. So any of those would blend really well with a eucalyptus. So we're not supposed to take the oils internally at all, and a gargle is probably the closest that we get to actually taking the oils inside the body. It's a great method for sore throats, mouth ulcers, laryngitis, losing your voice, gum disease, toothache, bad breath. So we need to make sure that the method of use that we use at any one time is going to be very suitable and appropriate for the condition that we're treating. So in this case, sore throat, sore mouth even, you could use eucalyptus or tea tree. And mouth ulcers respond really well to geranium, lemon, thyme, and basil rings a bell as well there. You could put basil in there. Laryngitis, eucalyptus is the best one for bringing your voice back when you've lost your voice. Gum disease, we also can use chamomile, peppermint oil as well. For toothache, I believe basil, chamomile, peppermint, they're the best alternatives for toothache. And then bad breath, halitosis, you can use peppermint. So the method of use is going to be to have 100 mils, normally of warm water, and then add 1 drop of essential oil to that warm water. And then you take a sip of the water, pop your head back and gargle, swish the water around your mouth, gargle for a minute and then spit it out. So you then gargle, spit, gargle and spit until all the water has gone. So using another method of use, a gargle, really, really useful with eucalyptus. That would be my first thought the minute somebody comes in and says they've got a sore throat, or if anybody coughs when I'm teaching them. I find that gargling with eucalyptus is a really good thing to send them off to do. We've discussed lotions and potions and neat use, and again that's only lavender and tea tree. We've discussed an inhalation, and eucalyptus is definitely a really good way of using it in an inhalation. A vaporizer as well, if you find that you've got a headache or you've blocked nose. We can also use it effectively in the bath, especially as an antispasmodic for aches and pains. So that's our 6th oil out of 10, and I hope you're really enjoying this course of essential oils and how to use them at home. And feedback would be really good if you could take a few minutes to give me feedback on how you're finding these different presentations. So next time I think we're going to have a look at lemon oil. Nice citrusy, fresh lemon.